So I'm joined by Robert Tye. Robert is a successful entrepreneur, and you've got quite a lot of exciting things going on right now, including a startup in the fintech space. So before we talk about that, perhaps you can do a quick introduction, Rob.
Sure. Well, my name is Robert Tye. I'm originally from England. I've been here in the United States around the Chicago area for about 14, 15 years now. I've been a digital marketer for the last previously 8 years before that. I've been in banking, private bank. And so I've owned my own business, London Town Marketing. I've helped over 73 companies grow and in excess of entrepreneurs to actual businesses making 10 million plus. A much varied space in between there. And I saw an open market for my company, which didn't have a name a year and a half ago. It does now, called Centwise, which we are a digital transaction company that's going to allow people to withdraw money at local stores and hotels and retail stores without a debit card and without a picture ID. So if you're in one of those spare the moment moments where you need cash, you utilize Centwise, or if you're looking to make a payment to a restaurant or a hotel, you can utilize Centwise too, and more stuff coming on top of that as well.
Excellent. Sounds really interesting. So obviously you've worked with companies to help them grow, and you're going to be coming to my next business growth summit. And perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about what you're going to be speaking about at my event.
Sure. I believe 100% fully that digital marketing takes its place in a business structure. So you can't just rely on organic marketing and networking anymore. You simply have to have an online platform. Whether that could be, AdWords, it could be Facebook, Instagram ads, it could be using ClickFunnels, it could be a majority of stuff. So I usually teach to my clients and your clients that you're going to have at your event is no matter what business idea you have and implementation, if you don't have a great marketing plan where 60% of that is utilizing social media in some way, for the first 12 months, it's going to be very difficult for you to launch. And so I have pictures and images and I have decks to show you exactly what I mean. And companies that have said, no, I don't want to do digital marketing, that have called me back 6 months later by saying, you're right, I'm being left behind, to companies that jumped on right away and got a really clear start.
Okay. Why do you think social media has and continues to change the way that businesses sort of reach out to their customers?
Cell phones, mobile phones right here. One of the images I do show is at the tube station in London, where some guy spent almost $10,000 on a advertisement on one of the tube stations. This massive image, and you have probably around 75 to 80 people standing there on the tube looking at their phones. They're doing this. No one's looking at the advertisement in front of them that he spent a ton of money on. So this is what it takes. This is exactly what you have to have. And social media models send messages to this, whether it's digital, whether it's electronics, whether it's email, VSL, funnels, you name it, Facebook, Instagram. This is the platform to see every piece of information about your business. The one thing you do is the restaurant open today, you go to Google. I want to check out the reviews on the section. I want to look them up on Facebook. And so without that, you may as well just shut the door.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I'm invested in a few different sectors here in the UK, and it's interesting. We analyse the sort of traffic that comes through the various different websites, and even just in the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, the amount of people that access our websites on a smartphone versus on a traditional PC or laptop is I think it's gone from sort of 60% to about 80% in some of the businesses where we're operating in, and it's really interesting to see. One of my business partners said to me that unless you've got sort of 100,000 followers on Twitter, you're sort of almost wasting your time with it. How do you get real traction from social media? How do you build that following in the first place?
Well, first of all, I completely agree with him. Unless you're Kim Kardashian and you're saying, go out and buy this perfume, which is not her brand, or hey guys, look at these new earrings. You're paying for that endorsement. I actually do a whole thing on, fill up a stadium, invite everyone, and put Gary up on stage. Gary, no one knows who Gary is, and Gary drops a bomb of information on these people. Now, 20% of those people will go, that was cool, I really enjoyed it. But the other 80% of the people, of the 100,000, are sitting there going, okay, that's kind of cool. But you stick an influencer in the middle of that section, and that influencer speaks. That person it's like a rock band. You pay, almost $1,000 sometimes to go see a band of your favorite people. When you hear them say something, you're on the bandwagon, you're loving it. And so I completely agree on that. To build up, I mean, I actually did a whole video on how to get to 10,000 Twitter followers in 60 days. And to be honest with you, it works, but 65 to 70% of those aren't going to be your audience for your business. So you can spend your time building up your Twitter followers. I actually believe Instagram is a more powerful tool. One image says it all. If you're selling something, Instagram's for you. If you have a consulting firm, Twitter works. You can drop value over that, but it will get lost. It will get lost in the feed. And I follow Twitter, but I follow like England football. And I want to see what's going on in the latest news. I'm not following Twitter for business.
Okay. 94% of startups here in the UK fail within the first 5 years, and for me that's just a real staggering statistic. And I know it's pretty similar over there in the States. I know you obviously work with many different types of business startups, and I guess you get to see many different types of startup businesses. When you see them not working, what would you sort of pinpoint as the reasons why perhaps startups are failing and aren't quite getting there and getting that success?
I think I have the perfect answer for you, which is really going to help in what we're discussing today. And I could go on for 5 hours discussing this, because I've actually been hired by a company that are looking for funding, and they'll hire me as a consultant to get funding, number one. Number two, I've had a company that's got funding, and it all comes down to the team, right? The team, if they don't know or they have no drive, some people spend 3 years every day grinding to try and get their money. And by the time they get their money, they're exhausted to even try and run their business. And so, but I think the biggest thing out of all this that I've noticed is they don't have people like you. They don't have someone that has the knowledge to take them to where they need to be. So, sitting down with them for 3 days is such a great return of investment. People go, oh, I'm not really interested in, I'd rather just do it myself. But, if they're reading a book, they obviously have an influencer. And that's why you need to have someone that's going to guide you, someone who's been there, someone that's done it, someone that can physically say, don't spend 6 months doing that because we did that before. Spend 6 months going this way. And so if you would have someone like you or myself, on the social media side, actually sit down and hone in and listen to what we have to say, then that information is imperative, because we've already had the failures. And I don't believe anyone out there, I mean, maybe you're a little bit different, but I don't believe anyone out there has had a success every single time. I think we've had our knocks, we've lived it, we've breathed it, we've been put back. So now we can take that education and take it to the people. And so I think if we can do that more often, and those people would actually come in and listen, that 94% would actually go way, 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 way down.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with anything you've said there. I mean, when I started my recruitment business, probably for the first 3 years, we really just played at it. And I think that I sort of went thrust into owning my own business, thinking I knew how to take it forward, and little did I know about running a business. And I think if back then I had had a mentor or some sort of coach that could have worked with me to sort of help me avoid making some of those mistakes, then we probably would have ended up building something even better than we ended up building. So I do completely understand what you're saying there. You've obviously already mentioned briefly about your fintech business. I mean, that sounds really, really interesting. Perhaps you can just share a little bit more about how you ended up, deciding to start a business in the fintech space.
Yeah, I have a great background in banking, 8 years, and one of the biggest things that we saw were debit card fees, a fee for having a bank account. And now obviously cut to today, from 2012 even, a lot of companies are trying to solve that issue. They'll have bank accounts with no fees and stuff. But, our generation still has that want to walk into a bank and sit down with a banker instead of literally doing everything online. Or if they make a phone call, they have to make a phone call and wait in line for 20 minutes just to get hold of someone to say, hey, what's this charge? And so I think we pieced it all together. I put all the downfalls of banking into Centwise to make it an upfall, to make it an uphill climb for everyone, and look at that and say, this is the system that we need to pay for stuff and to obviously withdraw money as well. I don't have any fees. There's no hardware I have to go to. My money transactions, I don't have to give over my debit card. There's no chance of me being skimmed. So I spent almost 2 years developing, why a customer would want to use this. And to now physically having them, I sit down with people when I talk about Centwise to a business and to a customer, and everyone lights up by saying, this is the product that we need. And so it excites me like crazy, but it's because there shouldn't be. And hopefully there's no one coming back to me saying, hey, this is the downfall of your app here, because we physically put all the good into it.
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing you speak at my event. Not just about what you can do in terms of helping businesses grow, but also hearing more about your own journey, and obviously not just about running your own successful business, but also getting involved in a really interesting startup. So for those people that might be watching this that want to reach out to you individually, what's the best way that people can get in touch with you?
Sure. So I have a simple email address. It's centwise@gmail.com. So SENTWISE@gmail.com. That goes directly to me and my team. 99% of the time, it's usually me that responds. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that we have. We are looking to raise $125,000 in capital, which is about 97,000 pounds, which is the equivalent to the conversion rate right now. We have 5 board seats we're looking to fill, and that's just because we're looking to build an ICO part, blockchain technology part to our app. So we want to do a little bit more tweaking and make it roll out perfect. So. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great stuff. Well, thanks ever so much for your time, Robert. It's been really, really interesting to hear from you today, and I'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Paul.
Cheers.